But up next we get our first formal match of the night, Dean Ambrose versus Bad News Barrett. Again, Dean Ambrose still in possession of the Intercontinental Championship, and we have R-Truth once again on commentary.
And he's amazing.
Oh, he is so good, dude. Yeah, R-Truth, when he's really allowed to show his personality and he has the proper forum, I think could be really entertaining. And really, all I have to say about this match is I really appreciated Dean Ambrose's energy in this match. Like, he seemed to go like in another gear in this one with a lot of the stuff he was doing. I know there was points where he was doing like chop, punch, and he just like had all this energy in his offense. He came off the apron at one point, did his elbow. So yeah, Dean was very exciting in this matchup. I enjoyed it. Barrett did his usual stuff. I know at one point he got wins of change. So it was a nice back and forth affair. But, ultimately the end of the match comes that R-Truth sneaks in, steals the title again, same exact way he did last time. But then when he sits back at commentary, Luke Harper is standing behind him, and Truth, out of fear, gives Luke Harper the Intercontinental Championship, which he slumps over his shoulder and he walks out with. Yeah. Meanwhile, Barrett's distracted because he was going for the bullhammer. He sees Luke going off with the title. He's like, hey, that's my title! And, then Dean turns him around. Dirty deeds. 1, 2, 3. Win. So then after the match, Ambrose is kind of looking for the championship. He confronts Truth, and I think Truth pretty much tells him, hey, man, I gave it away. And then Truth, he was like, well, think of it this way. It was 2 title changes already in one night. God, that's so good. So, yeah, I guess...
love R-Truth in this role. He's so good. I'm so glad they decided to bring crazy R-Truth back.
Definitely. And he works as a babyface, though, because he really isn't like that heelish right now. I mean, maybe you can make that case with saying that Dean Ambrose was a thief and he would never stoop to that, but even they seem to be, like, on good terms. So, this R-Truth works, and since this is the appropriate place to discuss it, I'll say it right now. I'm really enjoying this storyline.
Yeah.
I think it's different. I think it's creative. I think it's fun. I'm getting into it. The idea that it's going to culminate in a ladder match, which, given who's probably going to be involved, I mean, we can make an educated inference on that fact, is going to be insanity.
Yeah.
So happy for the Intercontinental title this year. This is awesome.
I absolutely love the build-up they're doing for this because it's almost like, and I know that it's not exactly this because I did some research earlier and I tried to make sure that it wasn't exactly what I'm about to say, but it's almost like they're kind of going with the theory that if you beat the champion, you should be the champion. And all of these guys have beaten the champion, so they all think that they have a claim to the title. And I don't necessarily mean if you beat the champion, you're the number one contender. I mean if you beat the champion, you are the champion. And so they're all saying, well, we've all beaten Bad News Barrett, so we all feel like we are the rightful Intercontinental Champion. And I absolutely love it. And I don't even know if the WWE is doing it for that reason, but whether they are or not, I'm going to just believe it in my own little world because it helps me to indulge more.
Well, I love it, right? Because it's taking the common premise of contendership that we know today to its logical extreme.
Right. And exactly. Yes.
And that's what makes this so great, because it's been a common criticism of like a lot of writers, a lot of commentators on the internet of, oh, what happened to the good days, when you could really make a contender. And don't get me wrong, I think there is a certain level of credence to that. But the idea that they can take this very simplistic device and push it over the edge, I think breathes such new life into it. And it's just so welcomed for the mid-card.
Yeah.
So, really great. But moving on from that, we get another great segment. And this was actually kind of one of the standouts for me, because I really appreciated that they did a segment like this. Miz and Mizdow are backstage with some members of the locker room, mainly, PTP, Cameron, Summer Rae, and just all those guys. And Miz is going to do a screening of his commercial, the one that he interrupted with Mizdow about whatever the pill was. Now, Mizdow is kind of warning him, like, hey, are you sure you want to do that, whatever. And Miz just like, shh, more or less stay out of my business. You don't know what you're doing. I've got this. He rolls it. It's a drug called Niagara, which of course is a play on words for Viagra. And they're using the cut up from Miz interrupting Mizdow to talk about, well, how endowed he is, so to speak. And then it cuts to Mizdow with these two beautiful women, I guess, after taking the pill to show that he's been quite successful because of the drug. And it's pretty much your typical drug commercial. They even do the side effects and everything. It was really well done.
I love that they rattled off the side effects there at the end. That was hilarious to me.
It's the little things, right? It was such a nice touch for this. And then I don't really, I know we said that this is like the best gimmick for the Miz and stuff like that, and I really feel like it reached its crescendo here because I loved how he sold the embarrassment.
Yep.
He was Seething.
My favorite line, though. This little soldier still has, what does he say? Still has bullets in the whatever. Like, I died when he said that. I was like, oh my god, the delivery, though.
That's the word, Ashton. I feel like Miz's delivery was so on point in this segment. Cause I've gone back and I've been watching like a lot of like older backstage segments and confrontations. And I watched one, it was leading up to the Royal Rumble 2002, The Rock and Chris Jericho's undisputed title match. And everybody was looking past Jericho, right? They thought it was a foregone conclusion that Rock was gonna win. And Jericho just blew a gasket. He's like, I am not a joke, and you will not, and he just like snapped. You could see it all over his face. That's kind of the vibe I got here. Miz had this face like, how dare you humiliate me when I am not a joke. I am serious. I gave you everything. I loved it, dude. And he slaps Mizdow in the face, and then Mizdow steps up because his facial expressions were he was this close. He just needed one little push. And Miz even kind of mocks him about it. He says, before you do whatever you're thinking of doing, you just better think about it, and you better remember where you were before we met. And then he says, do you have anything to say for yourself? And Sandow apologizes, but you can see he's visibly
Dude,
shaking.
I wanted it so bad. All I wanted to hear, the only words that I wanted to hear come out of Mizdow's mouth, you're welcome. Oh, I would have died.
Yeah, really finding himself again and coming back with that fire. Dude, you know what? I really want to give this angle its proper due. I know for some people maybe some of the segments they did were hit and miss. This was a definite hit for me. Definite hit.
May I take a swing at giving this segment its due?
Sure.
I said this on Twitter, and I really wanted to restate it for Twitwow. Damien Mizdow, in my opinion, is about 3 months of really good booking away from being, from an over standpoint, where Daniel Bryan was at this time last year.
Absolutely. And you know what? I do have to credit this segment for another thing, too. I feel like that slap was so needed because I feel like a lot of people, and maybe even I'm speaking for myself a little bit personally there, we're just thinking, come on, Mizdow, when's it going to come? I'm starting to get a little bored. Like, when's the resolution going to come? I know you even say, like a few Twitwows back, that you felt like it was kind of wearing thin a little bit. I really feel like, again, much like the IC title picture and what they're doing with that, this breathes life into it. I feel like that was achieved for so many undercard angles tonight. So really great work by both Miz and Mizdow. They're really making this thing worthwhile for me again. I'm pretty in, man. It's pretty enthralling stuff after that segment.
Yeah.
But we go from that to Bray Wyatt on the stage with a casket. He cuts a promo on the Undertaker, and he wondered, like, do you still have it in you, Undertaker? You know, and he talks about, I used to look into your eyes, you used to strike fear into everyone. Or have the hands of time ripped you apart? And he talks about his obsession with fire. Says it's just like him. And he douses the casket in gasoline, and he lights it on fire. And he says, I would walk through hell to see your face, Undertaker. And he says, Taker doesn't know who he's dealing with, man. Wyatt says everything burns with him, and at WrestleMania, the dead man will burn also. Then Bray lights the casket, yells for Taker to find him, and we go to commercial. What I love about this is completely opposite to the WrestleMania 20 build. Because at WrestleMania 20, it was Undertaker playing all the mind games on Kane, and then he finally showed up at the big event. I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing here, except Wyatt is the hunter in this case. He's playing all these games, and we're going to see Undertaker's response at WrestleMania when he shows up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out, because part of me even wonders, because the thing about WrestleMania 20 was it was kind of a squash match. I mean, Taker showed up in like rare form, he destroyed Kane. I think Wyatt will give Taker a run for his money, but how many times can you spit in the devil's face before he breathes fire right back at you? That's the question.
Well, you just said that Taker squashed Kane, but Taker was the one doing the calling out, so...
That is true. I mean, I wonder now if Bray is going to be able to prove his point. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I will say, though, I don't know if I liked one specific thing about this segment.
Which was?
Bray said that he built the casket for The Undertaker.
Now, why did you have a problem with that?
He built a casket for The Undertaker for the sole purpose of burning it on live TV. That, to me, that just seems like a whole lot of work for nothing.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying. But, ultimately, I think I just really enjoy the imagery and the atmosphere they're creating. And I feel like you got well, really, Bray's been doing all the work, really pulling the card on that end. But really enjoying it. And now that I'm pretty secure that Undertaker will just be showing up at WrestleMania like he did at 20, I'm fine with Bray doing whatever he needs to do. I know a lot of people are like, but Undertaker needs to show up. Give it time. It's all in the moment, folks. That's what Undertaker, I think, really does best. So
It's a good thing Bray Wyatt is humane, or because I don't think anyone had time to really fall in love with that casket before he killed it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you see this casket? You like this casket? I built this casket. Light it on fire. Fuck this casket, man.
Yeah, you wish you would have made this in woodshop class. I made this. Now I burn this.
I am the creator of casket.
Oh, man. We go from that.
People are talking about how we're going to get a casket inferno buried alive match.
Oh, my God, the insanity. Stop the madness.
A match that you can only win by putting your opponent in a casket, lighting it on fire, and then putting the fire out with dirt in a grave.
Vince, that seems a bit exciting. We're doing it, damn it!
Your Vince McMahon impression is getting to be the point where it's just too good.
I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
You just have the perfect amount of rage in your voice when you do it.
Oh, well, then we should really just thank humanity for that fact. But